Hi, I'm Dan, and welcome back to the Rock Nerd Radio Show. I recently picked up the Target exclusive Ant-Man, and rather than do a 5 minutes or less review, I thought it would be better to compare him with the retro-carded Ant-Man and see if we can't find out which one of these Ant-Man figures is, king of the anthill.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
So before we begin with this edition of Which is Better, I do have to just make mention of something real quick. Apparently, the new Target exclusive Ant-Man is supposed to be Scott Lang. But Scott Lang, when he originally was Ant-Man, was in the same exact costume as Hank Pym, as far as I know. And because of that, I feel like this could really be either Scott Lang or Hank Pym. Really, same as this one. So I'm just going to assume they're both Hank Pym, and I'm going to go from there. But round one is about paint and appearance, and quite honestly, most of what we're looking at on these figures is the same. There are a few differences, namely the Target one. You can see he has blue trunks, whereas this one almost looks like he has blue shorts, the retro card one. The retro card one is on a much skinnier body, and he also has a reuse of the Walgreens exclusive Black Ant head, whereas our new one has a very classic looking Ant-Man helmet, and the body is a little bulkier. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't really think of Ant-Man as like a powerhouse type character, but I don't think of him as a skinny little thing either. So, quite honestly, I have to give round one to our Target exclusive Ant-Man just because he looks a little heftier, he looks a little bulkier, I like the helmet a lot more, and I kind of like the look of the trunks over the shorts of the retro one. Round two of Which is Better is about the articulation, and quite honestly, these two figures have just about the same style of articulation. It is pretty impressive considering that they're two different bodies. I have to say, both their heads move the same, they both have the butterfly joints on their shoulders, arms move exactly the same, waists move the same, thighs move the same, double jointed knees. The only difference in these two figures is that our new Target one does have a boot cut, so he gets that nice ankle movement, whereas the old one does not have a boot cut, so nothing moving there. So very simple, but because of that, I have to give round two to our Target one, just because he's got that little bit of extra movement, which I know some people will use when they're taking toy photography, doing some dynamic posing with this character. Round three is the accessories round, and we're going to start with our Target exclusive Ant-Man for this round, and his only accessories are that he comes with some interchangeable hands. So he comes with another fist and another open hand. Now, the thing is, I do like different hand options, but a character like Hank Pym, he's a scientist. Ant-Man's a scientist, so these open hands would be good if they could hold stuff, but because of the way they're opened, I don't really feel like they can hold anything. It's kind of a bit of a drawback for me on this figure. I would have loved it if he came with hands that could hold beakers or something, a canister of Pym particles, but really just no extra accessories other than these hands. Our retro cardback Ant-Man came with no interchangeable hands. The only accessory that he came with was a little tiny wasp figure, so tiny that I couldn't even find it in my parts bin at the moment for this review, so I'll try to throw a picture of her up here as I'm talking. But that's the only accessory he came with. Now, if you're gonna ask me my honest opinion, do I like extra hands better, or do I like little extra included characters better? In this case, I'm gonna say that I like the included character better. For a character like Ant-Man and Wasp especially, who can shrink size, change their size, it was a neat little inclusion to have a tiny wasp that came with this Ant-Man. It's almost like, after all, they are a pair. So, with that being said, our retro card Ant-Man is going to win the accessory round. Round 4 is about price and availability. Now, quite honestly, at the moment of recording this, you can probably walk into a Target, find this Ant-Man on a shelf, and spend about $25 plus tax on the figure. Not a bad deal considering that that's what Marvel Legends are currently going for. You can't find this Ant-Man on a store shelf right now. In fact, when he came out, as I recall, he was a little hard to find. But as of this moment, looking on places online like eBay, you can find this Ant-Man for about $15 loose and $25 to $30 carded. There might be some shipping charges depending on who your eBay seller is, and you might have to wait a couple days, as opposed to if you just walk into a Target and find this. But quite honestly, these differences are so minuscule in my mind that I'm gonna say round 4 is a tie. Either one is a good value right now, and they're pretty easy to get because a lot of people are kind of dumping the old one in favor of this one, and if you want to go with the old one, you should be able to find them pretty easily. Our last round, our 5th round, is about the display compatibility and really which one might look best on your display. What I'm telling you now is just about my display. Your mileage may vary. But when I think of Ant-Man, when I think of Avengers, I try to have the most iconic looking version of a character for my Avengers shelf. It's led to me having to rearrange some things and rebuy characters over the years. But looking at these two figures, our Target Ant-Man has like the most classic, iconic looking Ant-Man helmet. And again, it could be Scott Lang, it could be Hank Pym, but this helmet just looks really, really good, as opposed to this one, which is a little more like futuristic-y, not quite 100% classic Ant-Man looking. So because of that little detail of the helmet, I have to give round 5 to our Target exclusive Ant-Man. I gotta say, neither of these are really bad figures. There's just some improvements on this new Target one that I feel lets it kind of win out, as well as a couple other factors as you just saw. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I've been Dan. You've been pretty awesome. I'll catch you around. Have a good one.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
Quite honestly, they almost have the same exact style.